is more fun than making an explosion? To learn, make a mess, and have fun doing it all. That's why I will be making elephant toothpaste. So I decided to do elephant toothpaste because I've always liked making messes and learning how things work at the same time. So in this lab, there will be hydrogen peroxide, Dawn soap, and a yeast solution. So the first thing we can do is get the yeast solution over with, okay, the first thing you need is 3 tablespoons of warm water. And I'm going to do that in milliliters, so that is 44 milliliters, and you might as well just put that in the mug. And 1 packet of yeast. So each packet equals 1 tablespoon, and that's all you need. And I can't get it open. Okay. And technically in yeast, there is enzymes called, which are called catalysts. And by adding that water, it kind of activates the yeast. And technically, you just gotta wait for the yeast to kind of turn into a frothy mixture. And honestly, it smells horrible, but it's yeast, so I'm not eating it. Okay, just gotta wait for that. And now we can move on to the hydrogen peroxide solution now. So we need a half a cup of hydrogen peroxide, which is 118 milliliters. So I gotta do this twice. And hydrogen peroxide, once the hydrogen peroxide meets the yeast kind of breaks down the hydrogen peroxide into oxygen gas and water. So 118 milliliters are in there, and now we can add Dawn soap. Adding soap, it definitely changes the outcome of the lab, because if you do not, instead of that nice foam, it will be, you just kind of add a good amount, it will be like a, kind of like a sizzle or like a fizz. So definitely like add soap, so it'll have a better outcome. And then what is not better than food coloring? Something to stain your skin and something like a fun color like red. So I have stained my skin like last night with it, and it's not fun. So I'm just going to add a lot. And by now that yeast solution is most likely frothy, and it's probably good to add, but I'm just going to give it one good stir. And now we observe what happens. And now it will slowly go up, but you can see how it has that foamy consistency because we added the Dawn. Okay, so what happens is when you add the yeast solution and the hydrogen peroxide breaks down into oxygen, gas, and water. So those bubbles kind of go up and the surface tension is high, so it makes a foam. And because it is an exothermic reaction, it is warm, not necessarily hot, but I would refrain from touching it, definitely, because that can result in chemical burns and thermal burns. So definitely not touch it. Okay, so again, so knowing all this information, how to make elephant toothpaste will leave people not knowing you're smart, but also know what you're talking about. You knew how to make the yeast solution with water and yeast, and you now know how to make the hydrogen peroxide solution with the Dawn dish soap and hydrogen peroxide. And now, what's most fun? The coloring. Like, come on, guys. So now, this is stuff that you can get at your household, anywhere, technically around, and this is mostly really fun for me to do this, so hopefully you guys will do it too.